Welcome back, go-getters. Here are 10 business lessons to learn from a busker. We know many of you may have probably encountered a few of these individuals while shopping, heading into work, or while traveling around the world. You may even have given them a generous tip for their talents. Now you might be wondering, how can I learn anything from a street performer, be it a musician, dancer, magician, or any other kind when it comes to business or finance? Well, we're here to let you in on the successful one's secrets. Also, stick around until the end for a bonus tip, which we consider to be a real game changer. Just think about the time you gave them some of your hard-earned cash. Was it because they were extremely talented at what they did? Or was it because they brightened up your day with a smile or some laughter? Was it because you respected the amount of preparation they made in order to get to the level they're at? Maybe you saw their potential and wanted to encourage them to continue. Whatever the reason, here are the 10 lessons you can learn about business from a street busker. Lesson number 1: getting out of your comfort zone. How many of you are stuck in a job you don't like or have always wanted to start a business but were too afraid of what others might think of you? Well, you're not alone. And after speaking to countless buskers, we can tell you that even they felt uncomfortable the first time they arrived to their pitch and began singing their first words. Yet, once you face your irrational fear of whatever it is you desire to do, you soon realize it fades away within seconds when you're on the right path. So force yourself to do something today that makes you feel uncomfortable, even just thinking about it. Ask for that pay raise that you know you deserve. Apply for that dream job you've always wanted. Or start your own business from the idea you've had for the past few years. Lesson number 2: discipline. A few years ago, we were in London shopping at the world-famous department store Harrods in Knightsbridge, where we came across the extremely talented Latvians. The siblings, consisting of 2 sisters and their brother, playing violins and cello. We were blown away by their talent, and they had an enormous crowd of spectators who were in awe of their virtuosity on their chosen instruments. After the performance, people approached their violin case and deposited a substantial amount of money. Now, we saw this as payment for all the years of hard work and dedication to music, because if you've ever tried to learn an instrument, you'll know exactly what we're talking about. It takes laser-like focus and discipline just to get up to a decent enough level to play some of your favorite pop songs, let alone to perform classical pieces of Vivaldi, Mozart, Beethoven with flawless precision on the street in front of thousands of people daily in all weather conditions. So whatever it is you're passionate about, decide on it and go after it with the discipline it takes to be able to perform flawless classical music. Lesson number 3: good social skills open doors. Many creative individuals would consider themselves to be introverts, but for those who understand this, they've been able to force themselves to become extroverts when the situation requires them to do so. We've noticed that the successful buskers have impeccable social skills while interacting with the crowd. Even if they're just playing their instrument, they're still making strong eye contact, giving out a smile here or there, giving everyone watching a really positive and pure experience. Then after they finish performing, they take a short break. The people who tipped them might approach the artist telling them how talented they are. We notice the really great buskers act with such humility and thank the person for their kind words, even listening intently to the patron as they proceed to tell them that they too play an instrument, but nowhere near as good as the street artist does. The important thing to take away here is the fact that although the busker has been showered with compliments, they don't talk about themselves. They appear to have zero ego. Instead, they listen, smile, and ask questions with the person engaging with them. We once asked a busker about this social skill observation, and they replied, "Because you never know who you're talking to and what they could potentially do for you." Lesson number 4: have a relentless work ethic. We have discussed the dedication and discipline it takes to become a great street artist, but a lesson to take away from them is to apply the relentless work ethic that the great ones possess. We once came across a street magician in London, and this talented person had one of the largest crowds we'd ever seen. Clearly a hit with everyone, so we went to watch. He performed his routine show, which was pretty impressive, which left the audience in an elated state of laughter that ended with thunderous applause. But before he held out his hat to collect his tips, he said, "Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate every single one of you. And if anything I've done here today has made you smile or laugh, then please tip generously because I'm saving for a house, not a sandwich." Everyone laughed once more before stepping forward to donate to his cause. After he collected his tips, which looked like a substantial amount for one 20-minute show, we went and spoke to him. He was from the United States, and when asked about his journey, he told us that he came over a few years back, fell in love with his wife, and they now have 2 beautiful children together. He proceeded to hand us his business card and told us he performs private events for clients in the evenings. On that card was his website and social media links. Here's a man who not only is out on the streets performing for hours on end while making a great living from it, but he also works in the evenings along with creating content for his social media and website. Wow, this work ethic just has to be admired. So whatever business you're starting, just remember it will take all your energy to get it off the ground, but more importantly, to keep it flying until you reach your desired destination. Lesson number 5. The law of probability. Persistence pays off. There was once a regular guitarist performing Spanish guitar by Harrods. These were clearly very intelligent buskers. Talk about a prime location. He used to perform for 4 to 5 hours straight without taking a break, and we know this because we worked in the real estate office right next to him. So impressed by his incredible work ethic and inhuman bladder, we approached him, giving generously, of course, due to his incredible talent, and struck up a conversation. When asked why he doesn't take a break, he replied, "I like to play the law of probability." When asked to elaborate, he replied, "If I stop, you never know who could walk past and donate a large sum to you, but in order for that to happen, I have to be performing my music. I've been given many private gigs, weddings, and parties, played at some of the most prestigious hotels in London. I've even had radio and television appearances, all because of performing on this street. Many of those opportunities came after I had a quiet hour with only a few donations. Most might have packed up and gone home, but that is when the best moments would usually happen. Call it the universe rewarding me. I don't know, but it happened on many occasions, so playing to an empty street or to a huge crowd is equally as beneficial in my success. I'm grateful to this street." Now that busker went on to work in the movie business, and yes, you guessed it, that opportunity also came from busking. How many of you have experienced starting something, but to only give up shortly after? Then you find out that if you just kept going a little longer, you would have been blessed with a massive payoff. We know that feeling after investing in the stocks and cryptocurrency markets over the years. Selling too soon has cost many people dearly. Although be sure to take your profits on the way up. Not financial advice, of course, but this is just to reaffirm the power of playing the law of probability. Time in the game usually pays off, so never give up. Lesson number 6. Invest in your vision. What do all these street performers have in common? They all invested in their vision. Their instruments, amplifiers, costumes all cost hundreds or thousands of dollars to getting started. You have to respect them for that. They had the vision to go after it by investing in themselves, which we know by now has clearly paid off for the great buskers. So why not invest in your brand new business idea, no matter how big or small you think it is? Weigh up the odds of it succeeding, and once you decide to go ahead, put some skin in the game. That way, there's no going back. You've taken the first steps of building your brand, hiring freelancers, buying stock, whatever it is, you will have no regrets on not acting on your vision. Some of the best entrepreneurs have failed many times in business, losing thousands or even millions. But many also bounced back to not only make it back, but to go on to build some of the most successful companies in the world today. So as long as you and your family wouldn't suffer if you were to lose some cash on a new venture, then you don't really have anything to lose, just everything to gain. Lesson number 7, believe in yourself and own the room. This might sound obnoxiously cliche in this day and age, but we still consider this to be a vital component for your success. But when speaking to a talented female singer on Hollywood Boulevard in LA a few years ago, we were pleasantly surprised by her positive yet grounded belief in herself and her abilities. She did have an incredible voice and accompanied herself on the acoustic guitar. She was performing a mix of famous cover songs and her own original material. She was clearly very talented, but she'd worked hard for it by putting in the practice. She had what it takes to make it, you might say. We asked her what her goal was out of street performing. Her reply was extremely eye-opening. The plan is to get picked up by a label. I mean, this is LA, right? She laughed, then continued. But in all seriousness, if I can just make people happy, earn enough to pay my rent, and retire my parents one day, then I'm happy. But none of that will happen for me unless I believe in myself. That's the reason I do what I do, even though many people told me to get a normal job. I make more money out here than I did working 3 jobs. Everything we do has to contain vast amounts of belief and conviction in ourselves. No one is going to build that brand or business for you, but you. There will be many people who won't believe in you or your vision, but ignore that unless it's coming from someone who has been there and done that. Even then, they may have gotten it wrong, so keep an open mind before going for it. We at Ignite Daily believe in you. Lesson number 8. Embrace your mistakes. They are learning experiences. In order to achieve a high competence in any chosen field, you have to put in the time and effort to do so. It's clear to see after having a conversation with every great street artist. Yet there is one thing they did bring up time and time again, and that is to embrace your mistakes. For example, one of them said this: "We perform in the moment, in all conditions imaginable. Things don't always go according to plan. Sometimes you might mess up a fast-scale flurry of notes in a complex piece, in which case you have a second to smile as you continue onwards without stopping, hoping to land back on your feet as quickly as possible, because if you can't, you'll lose some of the crowd. Most people aren't that forgiving. It's always good to think to yourself, why did that happen? So you can amend it for next time." So right there, they are prepared to make mistakes in the moment, to analyze it, learn from it, and improve, ready for next time. How many of you are prepared to potentially embarrass yourselves in front of strangers? We bet not many. So remember, as long as you learn from it, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Lesson number 9. Focus on your vision and only your vision. After learning about the previous lesson, you can see how important it is to stay in the pocket and focus on you and your vision. When you first set your sights on a new venture, you have to have military precision, using a laser-focused mind to bring it to fruition by setting obtainable goals at first before setting far more ambitious ones once you have some experience behind you. Without this approach, you will fail 9 times out of 10. We find setting daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly goals will help you achieve your vision much faster, as it is a roadmap you can see in your mind's eye. Not everything will go to plan, of course. Life does like to throw a curveball from time to time, so be ready to adapt to those situations and not get blown off course. Lesson number 10. Fortune favors the brave. Some of you might have been slightly impressed with how much money some of the buskers were making, and you're not the only one. We're also impressed. On average, the great buskers in a major city were making anywhere between $250 to $1,000 in just a few hours. Yeah, you heard that right. That's $7,000 a week, $364,000 a year for the top earners. That's pretty unbelievable, right? But let's just work off the lower end of the spectrum. Even $250 made for 7 days is $1,750, or $91,000 a year. Now, we know this isn't really realistic all the time for most street artists because the weather isn't always ideal in every country. However, this is just to give you an idea that a road less traveled can sometimes be paved with gold. And in this case, it's right under your nose without you ever knowing it. Now, we must add, don't let this discourage you from ever tipping a talented busker, because these are just the amounts made by some of the best in the world, and we still give to them whenever we can because they add so much color to our daily lives. So continue to ignite their journey and provide a great living for them because they have truly risked it all and sacrificed a lot to be there performing for you. Bonus lesson: humble beginnings can turn into the unimaginable. For those of you who stuck around until the end, here's our bonus lesson that we think is one of the most important. What does Ed Sheeran, Glenn Hansard, Passenger, Rod Stewart, Tracy Chapman, and Damian Rice all have in common? You guessed it. They hone their craft while busking. So the next time you see that talented musician or magician, just know they could be the next big thing. So donate generously to them. This goes to show that with enough dedication and belief, you can turn a very small, humble dream into an unimaginable one, if you're prepared to put in the work and go after it with everything you have. Fortune favors the brave, and the harder you work, the luckier you'll get. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more lessons to help you build a life of prosperity. We'll see you next time, go-getters!